Hello princesses! Today I'm going to be talking about the mMeme Matteful Porcelain Foundation. I picked this up because I don't think I've really tried anything from mMeme, and I'll be honest, I totally thought this was Petty Petter until like I just read the thing out. So... But I was intrigued because the lightest shade, I think, which is the one that I have, was fairly warm toned and quite light, and so I was really interested to see how that shade would turn out for my skin. So for this one we're going to have a product description, packaging, swatches and application, longevity, and final thoughts. So if you'd like to skip to any of those points, please do so now. So for the product description it says, semi-matte foundation that is thin and light on the skin to complete a smooth ceramic skin. It covers the skin like ceramics without worrying about skin irregularities and pores. It has 30-hour coverage effect that perfectly expresses the skin for a long time. It is a mild ingredient that covers defects without worrying about skin irritation. It minimizes water loss with 10 types of hyaluronic acids, allowing skincare without drying even after a matte finish. So the packaging of this one is quite interesting. It comes in a cute little squat bottle, which is kind of like a mixture between pink and beige, which I think is really cute. And it has this really odd circular cap. I'm not a super fan of the circular cap, like I don't really feel like it serves very much function to this, but it's different. It's definitely different. Underneath the circular cap it just has a little like nozzle. There's no pump or anything like that, but there's also no brushes, which I quite enjoy. The foundation has a really thin liquidy consistency, which makes it really easy to apply, and like I said before, I have net shade number 1, which is the lightest shade, and I think it's a pretty good match for my skin tone. I think that it's a really nice light shade and it's very warm toned, which is great for me. Okay, so I'm going to be applying this foundation using a cushion puff because it is my favourite method. I'm not really sure if you're supposed to shake it, but I don't think it's going to hurt. So I like to start in the centre of the face and kind of work my way outwards because I feel like it gives the best sort of finish. Basically for any foundation, not just this one. But it applies really easily. It has quite like a thin texture, so I don't feel like it's too heavy on the skin, and I think it just looks quite nice. It does have pretty good coverage as well. For such a thin texture, I feel like it's giving me a nice medium coverage that I could probably build to full if I wanted to over some of the scarring that I've got on my cheeks. So here is the half face done. We've got one side with the foundation and then the other side without the foundation. So you can definitely see, might actually zoom you in because maybe you can't see. That's better. So we can definitely see that we still have a few like little scars on this side that you can see, like on the upper lip and the cheek. But it's definitely more even in tone than this side is, and it's very matte, but without being like very dry looking. Like you can still see a little bit of luminousness, but only when I'm turning at certain angles where the window is reflecting some light back at me, so it's pretty good. Doesn't feel sticky or anything either, which is really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second half, and then I will zoom you guys in for a closer look. Okay, so this is how the full face is looking. We can see that it is like slightly lighter, slightly brighter than my neck when we're a little bit closer as well, so the colour's like a little bit off, but it's fine. When we're up close on the forehead, we can see it does cling a little bit to those textured sections, and you can see the forehead wrinkles. They're not any worse, but they're definitely not better. It does seem like a little bit dry, but it's fine. Around the eyes, when we smile, you can see it sitting a little bit in those fine lines, especially like down here. I can definitely see it looking a little dry and creepy, so maybe not the best if you have more fine lines. And then for the coverage aspect, you can see that it's done a pretty good job with one thin layer covering up those darker scars, which I have on my cheeks, and then on my lip, the upper lip, that is a birthmark. And I could probably do a better job with that actually. It's really hard to see because it's on the side of my face, alright? There you go. So it provides a little bit of coverage actually, but nothing super covering because it's very hard to cover such a different shade. Okay, so then I'm going to powder this half of my face using my Skin Food Peach Sake Pore Peach Sake Pore Blurring. I think it's just the Peach Cotton Multi Finish powder now. It's the new version. I've had this like twice before, and I'm just going to do a light coverage over this side of my face, and we will see how it affects the wear. In terms of just visual appearances, I don't think the powder makes it more matte because it's already a matte foundation, and then in terms of like stickiness, it does give it a little bit less of a tacky finish, but it's pretty good. So even for me, I really hate my hair sticking to my face, so even for me I would feel like this would give me enough non-stickiness
without the powder to wear just by itself. So I'm going to do the rest of my makeup and I will check in with you guys throughout the day. So here's how the foundation is looking after 7 hours. It's looking pretty good through the forehead as well as the nose, but there is a little dry patch around the side that I powdered, which is a bit of a shame, but otherwise it's holding up really well. This is how it looks after 12 hours, which is a good day's wear. You can see a little bit of shininess through the forehead, but otherwise it's looking pretty good. Through the nose you can see a little bit of shininess on the tip, but again, pretty good, especially in comparison to the powdered side. They look fine. On the powdered side, the nose still looks quite dry, which is a shame. My smile lines are atrocious at the end of the day, like I didn't realize they were so bad.
So overall for this foundation, I was actually surprised at how much I like it, considering I don't usually like matte foundations. Generally, I feel like matte foundations always kind of cling to dry spots on my skin and make my skin look like a little bit old and creepy and wrinkly, and I don't like that. However, I don't think that this one did that much. I did use a fairly hydrating like skincare underneath, so I think that definitely does help. If you have the same issues as me, I would highly recommend trying that out if you still want a matte finish. And I also thought that the colour was a pretty good match as well, which is really great. In terms of the longevity, I actually thought that the longevity was pretty good. It definitely stayed pretty matte through the mid-wear, and then at the end I did have a bit of shininess in my nose and my forehead, but again that's pretty good, and it was a pretty long wear test for that day too. So all in all, there isn't really anything that I particularly dislike about this foundation, which is actually quite nice. But otherwise it's a perfectly pleasant foundation and one of the first matte foundations that I've enjoyed in a really long time. So this is probably one that I recommend for any princesses who are close to NARS Shade in Siberia. This is slightly darker than that one because nothing is really as light as the Siberia in Korean based foundations anyway, that are looking for something that has a really nice soft matte finish that isn't drying on the skin. Or any princesses who just have drier skin who want a matte finish without looking too drying. So thank you guys so much for watching this review, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!